and the world is just very in this box only. So you can't even fathom this idea of intelligent life somewhere else, a UFO, or God forbid somebody tells you there could be another life on this planet that hasn't been discovered, like Bigfoot, Sasquatch. So then people start like, what? Cognitive dissonance. And I made a video about the Bigfoot that I always find it interesting that people can believe. And I grew up Christian, so I'm not dissing on Christianity, but people, and then I have other beliefs now that I'm older. I'm more of a general spiritual Buddhist and all these other type of beliefs now. But okay, anyways, the point is people believe without question Jesus was crucified, rose from the dead. And I have no problem with people believe that. Jesus walked on water. Jesus rose Lazarus from the dead. Jesus took a few fish, few loaves of bread, multiplied them and fed thousands of people, turned water to wine. He kept the party going, right? Turned water to wine. He sure did. That's my Bible. That's my scripture that justifies me being able to drink. No, I'm playing. Anyways, that's Jesus' first miracle, by the way. He kept the party going, turned that water around. But here's the point. Yeah, no problem. I believe that. That's what my bubble taught me, because I haven't been anywhere else to think about nothing else. So, but do you believe in Bigfoot? Heck no, I don't believe in Bigfoot. That's nonsense. There's no evidence and proof of Bigfoot. Never mind the evidence that people who make arguments about the existence of Jesus and Christianity and the resurrection is based on eyewitness testimony from an ancient scripture that was discovered all those years ago. Gospels written after the fact. The Bible didn't fall from the sky after Jesus crucified. It was written years later in Greek, New Testament, right? So anyways, the point is a double standard with what people are comfortable with, and then so dismissive of everything else. It just makes me kind of
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll be quiet now. But so why do you think? Why do you think we're here? What the heck's going on with everything? What's the point?
I feel very fortunate that I had the mother that I did that was into the metaphysical and understanding what source is. So even though I do believe universe, source, God, they're all the same thing at that higher level. I don't personally use the God word. I like universe, source better.
Okay.
Because it has less of a charge for me. That's just my personal preference. Okay, I would love, you mentioned Bigfoot earlier, and I would love to share what I understand about Bigfoot.
Go for it.
I have a very good friend that channels the Bigfoot energy and talks to them all the time. And I also 2 weeks ago had a client that experienced a life as a Sasquatch.
Okay.
And so we were able to get information about that. And so, so yes, Sasquatch, Bigfoot is a real thing, a real being.
Yeah.
And they are interdimensional.
Okay.
So they're able to shift in and out of dimension. Their original planet, Maldek, was actually destroyed by a fear-based group of beings on that planet, not the Sasquatch, but it's now the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. So that was planet Maldek, where they were living. And so now they have an existence in and out of our dimension, and they don't want to be discovered because we have so much fear-based polarity and war and fighting here on Earth, very similar to what they experienced on their planet that got destroyed. And so their experience is they don't want to be found. They don't want to be seen because they're afraid of getting like hunted down, because people that come across them in the woods typically are hunters.
Yeah.
And we shoot first, ask questions later, right?
Yeah. I interviewed a gentleman who's a Bigfoot experiencer. Actually, this past Sunday, he made some astute observations. I was really impressed with this young man. One real quick, like as you mentioned, the hunters and rifles. He talks about he don't take rifles into the woods. And a lot of people who do unexpectedly are for but a moment allowed to even see a Sasquatch are unarmed people who had no intention in their energy. They're not out there looking to kill anything. They're just out. And maybe there is some context or boundaries that Sasquatch is comfortable allowing certain people like, yeah, okay, here I am. But then it's very controlled situation. But this idea about people's cognitive dissonance with what they will double standard, what they want to believe. And this young man said, well, Bigfoot doesn't offer you anything. Very astute and check. Well, and I mean, you could talk about the deeper meanings of Bigfoot and what that but just on to keep it simple, Bigfoot does not offer you anything. Religion offers you something. It's going to make you feel better about yourself because we institutionalize guilt, fear, insecurity and inadequacy. So you need us. And so
Mhm.
you're going to fight to defend what we are, because we offer you something. We offer you that you're going to be okay, that you're going to get into heaven and not burn in a lake of fire forever. That's right. So I'm
Right.
gonna, if I am enculturated to believe that from day one, I'm not gonna even challenge that, because I need that. It's offering me something. Don't you touch my religion.
Right.
That's right. But what does Bigfoot offer me? He ain't gonna save me from a burning lake of fire. So it's easy to dismiss Bigfoot. He ain't offering me nothing. So
Yeah.
good for that young man, Taylor, if he's watching this video. Good for him. Very astute observation, right? Bigfoot don't offer you nothing. What's the motivation to believe in Bigfoot? Well, because I had some Sasquatch questions. Maybe you might be able to answer.
I might know
Okay.
the answer.
All right. Well, okay. So if Sasquatch is from a previous planet that was ruined, they came here, so maybe they're what's that, a refugee, right? They're here from another world, not country.
Yeah.
So they're here. So they had to, I would imagine, what we might call technology. They had some means to get here. Okay. So here they are, they're set up doing their thing, they're interdimensional. They can control to the extent of how they're seen. Right. So maybe they can affect things. So Bigfoot's here.
Yes.
If they can be this elusive, sometimes maybe people think about it too simplistically in regards to their reasons to not believe there's a Bigfoot. Well, by now we would find bones, a body, which nature by itself has a way of getting rid of corpse. I mean, scavengers, animals. I have a lot of deer where I live at, other animals. I was telling Taylor in my other video. And it's not like you just walking down the trail and, oh, hey, there's a full intact deer skeleton conveniently there for me to, hey, look, deer exists, right? So it doesn't work that way. It's not as easy as you think, just with nature by itself. But if you were to assume, let's say people just want to say Bigfoot, let's pretend he's just terrestrial only. He's not extraterrestrial. Say he's terrestrial. He's a hominid before you get to the big jump to us, where the aliens intervened and created us. Maybe we'll splice in with a hominid, for example. But let's say it's a residual leftover of the hominid that's not completely extinct, he's all out there. And so if we're just saying he's a terrestrial, he's not extra. So we're just using that argument for why people can be dismissive. And then I'm giving all the possible scenarios. Well, let's say that animal or pre-hominid, which is before us, close to us, is reasonably intelligent to understand that we are dangerous to its well-being. It would probably, like a lot of animals, have fear, fight or flight. It's an instinct, their own self-preservation. And unless they're starving to death or threatened, they're probably going to leave you alone. So if let's say Sasquatch, if it's just only terrestrial, could still be intelligent enough to say, hey, I just need to be very careful and staying away from people, right? So there's that. Okay. But let's say we're going to go with interdimensional, which I'm fine with that. He's interdimensional. This is even better in terms of a defense against, well, how come we can't see him that easy? Well, okay, if he's from another planet, he or she, Sasquatch, it had sufficient technology to get here, so that denotes some intelligence and capability. So Bigfoot, Sasquatch is here. So if they have the ability to do that, I would imagine they have a pretty good, reasonable ability to influence how they're seeing as well. So my question is, I wonder what kind of infrastructure does Sasquatch have in different locations that they're at? Maybe they're underground, or they interdimensionally go to a different space, if you will.
I think yes to both of
them.
Yes to both of those.
Yeah.
Based on conversations that I've had and the experiences. And so they do have a mechanism which they can basically, like in Harry Potter, the invisibility cloak.
Okay.
You can actually, put an invisibility field around them where that's how they can disappear. Some of them can go in and out of portals, which is how they can disappear from sight. You see them one moment and then they're gone the next.
Yeah.
There is a correlation between Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings.
Okay. I've heard that.
And, so there are a lot of different ways that they can evade humanity to not be seen. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Now, the thing is, I'm on a Facebook page called Bigfoot Believers. So I sometimes will put memes playing around. I trust me, I'm a very open-minded person, spiritually, paranormal, metaphysical, mysticism, all this stuff. I've always been. So I'm very open-minded, trust me, but sometimes people, you know how they are, they make little memes and jokes and stuff. So I asked a very straightforward, practical question that people don't typically ask. It'd be something maybe Howard Stern might ask somebody, right? I said, look, people got all these questions about Sasquatch. I'm just curious, what does he use for TP out in the woods, right? He's got all that hair, right? And then people, he uses rabbits, like, you know, the rabbit, right? Like, so anyways, so these are practical questions, but it seems silly. So the question is their physiology similar to a humanoid like us, where they have practical needs? They eat, they go to the bathroom, they have do they have a female male, so they have sex to reproduce? And
Yes.
yeah, they might even need to brush their freaking teeth. This seems maybe a bit silly, and some people might take that antagonistically as it's trying to poke fun. No, these are the questions that pop in my mind. I think about practical stuff. Bigfoot's out there. And unless he's got a setup somewhere, it can be uncomfortable out there, just kind of Sasquatching around, right? So I ask these questions not to poke fun, like making fun of people who believe. I ask in all genuineness, right? What's their activity of daily living like, right? What is do they read books when they're bored? Do they hack into Disney Plus or Netflix, right? And they've learned our language, maybe. Who knows? What do they do for entertainment? You get it. So, yeah.
So as what I do know, yes, they do have different sexes still.
Okay.
They do reproduce, very similar. They do need to eat.
Yeah.
Now they may, because they are able to go to that higher dimension, the higher dimension, the less physical, like dense the body is. And so they don't necessarily have to eat as much as we do physically.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do have all of that you said.
All right. Well, all right. Well, I appreciate your time. We've talked about a lot of stuff here today.